Quote, "Wisdom bridles the wandering mind, keeps it away from evil and bids it tread the right path." Meaning of the quote. This quote beautifully illustrates the role of wisdom as an inner guide. The wandering mind symbolizes our thoughts that drift aimlessly, from anxiety to fantasy, temptation to distraction. It's the untamed force within us that can easily be pulled toward harmful or unproductive behavior. To bridle means to rein in, to control gently but firmly, just like putting a bridle on a horse so it can be guided instead of running wild. Keeps it away from evil refers not just to moral wrongdoing, but to any thought or action that causes harm, whether to ourselves or others, like anger, envy, greed, dishonesty, or fear. Finally, bids it tread the right path means that wisdom doesn't merely restrain, it guides. It shows us a path of integrity, purpose, and peace. In essence, the quote reminds us that wisdom isn't just about knowing things, it's about rightly using our mind, aligning our thoughts and actions with what is good, meaningful, and balanced. Spiritual perspective. From a universal spiritual point of view, this quote is a reflection on inner consciousness and self-mastery. In many wisdom traditions, the mind is seen as both a gift and a challenge. Left unchecked, it becomes restless, scattered, and easily influenced by desires, fears, and ego. But when guided by inner wisdom, cultivated through silence, self-inquiry, compassion, and mindfulness, it becomes a powerful tool for liberation and harmony. Evil, in this context, represents misalignment with our true nature, anything that takes us away from peace, unity, and clarity. Wisdom acts like a light in the fog, helping us navigate life with intention, steering us from harmful tendencies, and helping us live authentically. Spiritual wisdom is quiet, steady, and kind. It doesn't control, it invites awareness. It lets the soul rise above noise and choose the path of inner truth. Scientific perspective. Science, especially neuroscience and psychology, supports this idea powerfully. The mind naturally wanders. In fact, studies show we spend nearly half our waking hours with our thoughts off task. This default mode is associated with mental fatigue, stress, and unhappiness. When the mind is left unregulated, we're more likely to make impulsive decisions, react emotionally, fall into negative thinking loops, but we also have the capacity for self-regulation, mainly housed in the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for decision-making, foresight, and ethical reasoning. This is where wisdom lives, scientifically speaking. Practices like meditation, reflection, journaling, or therapy help develop this inner guidance system by strengthening attention, reducing emotional reactivity, increasing empathy and ethical judgment. In other words, science shows that wisdom can literally reshape our brain to guide the wandering mind into clarity and well-being. Let's bring this wisdom to life through a short story. The Restless Horse. There was once a young traveler who inherited a powerful stallion. The horse was swift, strong, and fearless. But it was wild. It ran wherever it pleased, often leading the traveler into thorny forests, dangerous cliffs, and muddy ditches. One day, the traveler met an old woman who offered him a gift, a bridle and reins, finely made but simple. "This," she said, "will not break your horse's spirit, but it will guide it." The traveler learned to gently steer the horse. He no longer feared the ride. He still moved swiftly, but now with direction. The same energy that once led him astray now carried him exactly where he needed to go. The horse was never the problem, it was the lack of guidance that turned its strength into danger. So it is with our minds. How it applies in everyday life. Wisdom isn't just a lofty ideal, it's a daily practice. Here's how this quote shows up in everyday moments. In our thoughts, when we notice our mind spiraling into fear, jealousy, or regret, wisdom says, pause. Is this thought helping you? Is there a better one to choose? In our choices, before reacting, wisdom urges us to ask, what are the consequences? Will this choice bring peace or pain? In relationships, instead of jumping to conclusions or holding grudges, wisdom helps us listen deeply, respond with empathy, forgive freely. In habits, the wandering mind wants instant pleasure. Wisdom nudges us toward long-term well-being, health, purpose, rest, growth. In leadership or creativity, wisdom steers the passionate mind toward service, originality, and vision, instead of ego or comparison. Think of wisdom as the inner guide gently holding the reins of your thoughts. Not to suppress your spirit, but to align it with the path that brings peace, fulfillment, and purpose. The mind is a powerful force, like a river. Wisdom is the channel that gives it direction. Thank you for joining this exploration of wisdom. If this message resonated with you, like, share, and subscribe for more insights into timeless truths. Remember, every great journey begins with a single step, and every great idea begins with a strong foundation. See you in the next episode.